Hi, I'm Barbara Wyack.
And I'm Josh Wyack, and we're with the Select Realty Group of Keller Williams Realty, Sonoran Living. And today we're going to go through the Residential Seller Disclosure Advisory, featuring Barbara here as the seller's agent and myself as the client or the seller here. Just kind of going to go through it and show you what you need to do and how to interpret all this information for you.
Okay, great. Well, last time we talked a little bit about all the documents. Today we're specifically, like Josh mentioned, we're going to focus on the Residential Seller Disclosure Advisory. So this document, Josh, does need to be completed by the seller. And it's going to ask you questions like, who owns the property? When did you purchase the property? How long have you owned it? Is it vacant? Is it occupied? And then it's going to go through a lot of other questions about what you know about the property. So why don't we just start right here, Josh, and you're going to go ahead and put in your property address.
Okay. The street address, the city it's in, the state, and the zip code. Okay.
So then the next question is, does the property include any leased land?
So how do I find out if it includes any leased land?
Well, you would know because if you would have a lease payment as part of your either your property taxes, or you might get a separate statement from the party that is holding the leased land.
Okay, gotcha. And then explain whether or not it is leased or not. Is that correct?
Well, only if you said yes, you would have to explain how it's leased.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and now who's the legal owner of the property?
Okay, I am the legal owner of the property.
Is there anybody else that's on the title that you know of?
Just me.
Okay. And then what's the date that you purchased the home?
Okay, we purchased it, I believe, in July of 15.
Okay. And is the property currently owned, leased, or vacant?
It is currently owned and occupied by myself.
Okay, then you can check that box.
Okay.
If the property was a rental, it wasn't, so we can kind of skip this next section. And then the next question is the legal owner of the property a foreign person pursuant to the Foreign Investment in Real Estate Property Tax Act, or FIRPTA? Now, FIRPTA applies to any non-U.S. citizen that holds real estate in Arizona. They're responsible for paying some taxes. So if this applies to you, then you would check that box.
I'm a U.S. citizen, so it does not apply to me.
Okay. And then the approximate year that the home was built.
Okay, I believe it was built in 97.
Oops. All right, now this just goes through, it's going to ask you a whole bunch of questions about what do you know about more about what you know about the property. So have you entered into any agreement to transfer the property in any way? Have you signed a lease with anybody? Is there any reason that you couldn't sell the home and the buyer take immediate occupancy of the property?
Okay, gotcha. No.
Are there any associations governing the property? Do you live in a community where there's a homeowners association?
Yes, there is a homeowners association.
Okay. And then they're going to want the name of the homeowners association and their phone number.
Okay.
And are there fees? What are the HOA fees?
Okay. I'm not sure exactly. How do we find that out?
Okay, well, what we can do is there's another document that we're going to have to fill out. It is called the Homeowners Association Disclosure Statement. And we're going to call the property management company, and we're going to get all those fees. So go ahead and hold off on this right now. Once we get that information from the Homeowners Association, we can come back and fill this in.
Okay.
So all the next section is dealing with the Homeowners Association. So let's jump down to this one. It says, are you aware of any recorded liens against the property?
Okay, gotcha. No liens. But what are the different kinds of liens that could be on the property?
Well, there could be something called a mechanics lien. And a mechanics lien is if you've ever had any work done to the home by a contractor, they're going to file a lien on the home until the payment has been received. And then once it's received, they're going to release the lien. There could be judgment liens. There could be tax liens. One lien that we're seeing a lot recently is people that purchase solar panels. If they're a lot of people are when they're buying them, they're financing them. So the solar company is going to put a lien on the property to make sure that those solar panels get paid off before the property transfers.
Okay. And the next line here, am I aware of any assessments affecting the property? And what would those assessments be?
So if the assessments could be for like if the city or the community is assessing you for any work that has to be done, in other words, paving or sewer work or things like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Are there any title issues affecting the property? Are there any easements on the property? So an easement it gives someone the right to go across your property to be able to access their property or to be able to access a utility box.
Okay.
Are you aware of any public or private use paths across the property?
Nope, there are not.
Okay. Are there any violations against the property, either zoning violations or utility service violations?
I don't believe so, but how could I find out for sure?
Well, you could go to the city and check to see if there's been any violations that have been noted. You would know because the city would send you a letter.
Okay.
Let you know that there is a violation. Are there any? Have you ever filed an insurance claim?
I have not.
Okay. If you had, you'd want to list that you had and list the date of the claim was filed and what it was for.
Okay.
The next section talks about anything that has to do with the roof. So what's the condition of the roof? Have you ever had any leaks? Has the roof been replaced? If it's been replaced, do you have any home warranty? Is there any warranty for it? Or are there any cracks, things like that?
Okay.
Any issues with the driveway or the fireplace?
Okay.
Okay. The next section talks about wood infestation. In Arizona, we are subject to termites. And so a lot of properties, when homes are first built here, the builders will put a termite barrier, but that does wear off after about 5 years. So you have to get that barrier replaced every now and again. So have you ever seen termites, or has the property ever been treated for termites?
No, it has not.
Okay. Now this next section talks about the heating and cooling systems. It's going to want to know what type of heating system you have.
Just an AC unit.
Okay. So is it gas or is it electric?
Electric.
Okay, so you're going to put electric.
Okay.
And then how old is the unit?
It's about 5 years old.
Okay, so then you're going to put how old it is. And the same thing for the cooling system.
Okay.
Next section talks about the plumbing. Have you ever had any issues with the plumbing? Any leaks? Any issues with your water heater? Has your water heater ever leaked? Have you had it replaced? Your landscaping system, is it on an automatic timer or is it manual? So go ahead and fill all those in.
Okay. I know there's a lot of problems with polybutylene piping back in the day. Is that still prevalent?
It can be. Polybutylene piping, though, has not been used, I believe, since about 1995, maybe. So if your home was constructed prior to that, there was an issue with it, and some of those pipes could leak. And so it's very important for a new buyer to know what kind of pipes were used in the home.
Okay.
Perfect, thanks. All right, the next section is about the swimming pool. So do you have a swimming pool?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a hot tub?
Yes.
Okay. And are they heated? Well, obviously, if you have a hot tub, I hope it's heated, huh?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Any issues with it?
None so far.
Okay, good. All right, the next section talks about any electrical and related systems. So have you had any issues with any of your electrical systems?
We had a few issues with the GFCI breakers and stuff, but
Okay.
they have since been replaced.
Okay, so then you're going to say yes, and then you're going to say GFCI, and then replaced and when it was replaced.
Okay.
Do you have a security system?
Yes.
Okay, is it owned or is it leased?
It is owned.
Okay, and then is it monitored?
What do you mean by monitored?
Well, do you have you contracted with a monitoring company to, so if the alarm went off, they would send the police?
Okay, no, it is just a self-monitored system.
Okay, then you don't need to check that.
Okay.
Does the home have any smoke detectors or fire suppression systems or fire sprinklers?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is there any issues with those fire sprinklers?
Okay, Josh, the next section is kind of miscellaneous. Have you ever had any work done on the property?
No.
Like additions, anything like that? If there were, you would want to make sure that were there permits required, and if so, were the proper permits pulled? But since there wasn't any, we don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to say no on that section.
Okay.
And then the next section talks about utilities. So you're going to want to list all the utilities that you have coming into the home and who the provider is.
Okay.
Is there U.S. Postal Service delivery? Is it at the property or do you have a cluster mailbox?
It's at the property.
Okay. Now the next section is environmental issues. Is there any issues with any drainage or soil erosion, fissures, things like that?
No.
Okay. Are there any issues with noise? Is it close to an airport or any traffic noise or railroad or anything like that?
So what would you constitute as traffic noise? Any noise or just next to a major street?
I would say next to a major street.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And then we already said it's not near the airport. So the next section is on the sewer or wastewater treatment system. So is the property connected to a sewer?
It is.
Okay. And then what type of sewer is?
Public.
Public. Okay. And then any issues with the sewer system at all?
No, not to my knowledge.
All right. Any other conditions that you feel would be important to a buyer as they look at your property and decide that they want to continue with the purchase?
I don't think so, but what would some possible issues be that we should disclose in this forum?
So something you could, maybe there was a fire in the home and it was, but the property has been treated or, rebuilt, or it could be, is there anything that would have prevented you from buying the house?
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. All right, and then you're going to want to sign here. Now, Josh, it's, we went through this pretty quickly. It's very, very important that you make sure that you understand that, this is a disclosure statement that you're giving to the buyer, and it explains everything about the home so that they can make a solid purchase decision on moving forward with the purchase of your home.
Okay, so I should review this again prior to signing it?
Yes, I would go back through one more time, at your, as you have a little bit more time, and just make sure that you've, correctly answered all the questions.
Okay, perfect.
All right, great.
And that covers the seller property disclosure there. Thank you very much for joining us today. And if you have any questions or anything, our contact information is below. Leave us a comment, we'll get back to you. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified of all our future videos.
Thank you.